Section 18 of Aspects of Love, an Anthology. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Tony Addison. The Poems of Sappho, an interpretive rendition into English by John Myers O'Hara. Erotica. Dithyrambs. Hymn to Paphia. Immortal Paphia, have I earned thy hate, that I should burn in passion's fatal flame? Is not my constant service thine to claim, my prayers appeal with praise of thee elate? Has not my life been one sole hymn of thee, one quivering chord on love's harp overwrought? My soul has trembled up to thee in thought, probed to its depth thy every ecstasy. Are not my countless heartbeats each a vow of tribute throbs, a garland? For thy gain the fates have drenched my soul in passion's rain. Pieria's roses twined about my brow. The virgin harvest of my heart was thine. I shuddered in the joy that half consumed. The votive garlands on thy altar bloomed. My days were songs to nights of bliss divine. Why try me then with torture, gracious queen? Why verge me on this rapture's dread abyss, hold breast from breast, and stay the yearning kiss? Ah, couldst thou fashion pain that stung less keen? The throe of Tantalus is mine to bear. Beauty that Thetis-like eludes my clasp. Glances that lure, that make each breath a gasp, and then, disdainful, gloat at my despair. Scornful she dwells beyond my ardour's clutch, bathed in an aureole of carnal fire. O bind her, equal slave to fond desire! Let passion's tingling warmth her being touch. Come to me, goddess, come as once of old. Hearing my voice implore thee from afar, I drew to earth thy dazzling avatar. Accord the smile of piercing bliss untold. Ask me the dear suave question phrased of yore. Sappho, who grieveth now thy mad fond heart? Wouldst win her beauty, she who frowns apart? Wild as thou lovest, she soon shall love thee more. O fair Olympian, answer thus, I pray. Release me from this torment, yield my arms. The transport thirsted of her folded charms, in glow that welds her heart to mine, for I. Eros. From the gnarled branches of the apple trees, the heavy petals, lifted by the breeze, fluttered on puffs of odour fine and fell, in the clear water of the garden well. And some a bolder zephyr blew in sport across the marble reaches of my court, and some by sudden gusts were wafted wide towards sea and city down the mountain side. Lesbos seemed Paphos isled in rosy glow, green olive hills, the violet vale below. The air was azure fire, and o'er the blue still sea the doves of Aphrodite flew. My dreaming eyes saw Eros from afar, coming from heaven in his mother's car, in purple tunic clad, and at my heart the god was aiming his relentless dart. He whom fair Aphrodite called her son, she the adored, she the imperial one. He passed as winds that shake the soul, as pains sweet to the heart, as fire that warms the veins. He passed, and left my limbs dissolved in dew, relaxed and faint, with passion quivered through, exhausted with spent thrills of dread delight, a sudden darkness rushing on my sight. Passion. Now love shakes my soul, a mighty wind from the high mountain falling full on the oaks of the forest. Now, limb relaxing, it masters my life, and implacable thrills me, rending with anguish and rapture. Now my heart, paining my bosom, pants with desire as a maenad mad for the orgiac revel. Now under my skin run subtle arrows of flame, and my body quivers with surge of emotion. Now long importunate yearnings vanquish with surfeit my reason. Fainting, my senses forsake me. Aphrodite's praise. O Sappho, why art thou ever singing with praises the blessed Queen of Heaven? Why does the heart in thy bosom ever revert in its yearning throb to the goddess? Why are thy senses unsated, ever in quest of elusive love that is deathless? Ah, gracious daughter of Cyprus, never can I as a mortal tire of thy service. Thou art the breath of my body, the blood in my veins, and the glowing pulse of my bosom. Omnipotent, burning, resistless, thou art the passion that shaking masters me ever. Thou art the crisis of rapture relaxing my limbs, and the melting ebb of emotion, bringing the tears to my lashes, sighs to my lips in the swooning excess of passion. O golden-crowned Aphrodite, grant I shall ever be grateful, sure of thy favour, worthy the lot of thy priestess, supreme in the song that for ever rings with thy praises. The first kiss. And down I set the cushion upon the couch, that she, relaxed supine upon it, might give her lips to me. As some enamoured priestess at Aphrodite's shrine, entranced I bent above her with sense of the divine. She had by nature nubile, in years a child, no hint of any secret knowledge of passion's least intent. Her mouth for immolation was ripe, and mine the art, and one long kiss of passion deflowered her virgin heart. Ode to Attis. I loved you, Attis, once, long years ago. My blood was flame that thrilled to passion's throe. Now long neglect has quenched the olden fire, and blight of drifting years effaced desire. I loved you, Attis, joy of long ago. Love shook my soul as winds on forests blow. This lawless heart that dared exhaust delight, unsated strove and maddened through the night. I loved you, Attis, once, long years ago. With pain whose surge I felt to anguish grow, suffered the storms that waste the heart, and leave a desert shore where seas but break to grieve. I loved you, Attis, spring of long ago, watched you depart to Andromeda go. Then I, as keen despair its shadow cast O'er my deserted threshold, sobbing passed. I loved you, Atthis, once, long years ago. The thought of me is hateful now, I know, And all the lavish tenderness of old Has gone from me, and left my bosom cold. I loved you, Atthis, dream of long ago. How the fond words, impassioned music low, Sustain the sigh of love's divine regret! No length of time may bid the heart forget. Comparison. Less soft a Tyrian robe of texture fine, Less delicate a rose than flesh of thine, Whiter thy breast than snow that virgin lies, And deeper than the blue of seas thy eyes, More golden than the fruit of orange trees, Thy locks that floating lure the satyr breeze, Less fine of silver string an Orphic lyre, Less sweet than thy low laugh that wakes desire. The Sacrifice. Upon a cushion soft my limbs I place, My every garment doffed for deeper grace. From burning doves, embalmed in Baccharis, The scented fumes have calmed me like a kiss. Beyond the phallic shrine that tripods light, I pledge with holy wine an image white. Anadyomene, than foam more fair, When from the ravished sea she rose to air. Daughter of God, accept these gifts of mine. Last night my body slept in arms divine. These sated lips and eyes that erstwhile sued, Accord this sacrifice in gratitude. Leader. Once on a time they say that Leda found Beneath the thyme an egg upon the ground, And yet the swan she fondled long ago Was whiter than its shell of peeping snow. Amoebaeum. Alcæus and Sappho. Alcæus. Violet-weaving Sappho, pure and lovely, Softly smiling Sappho, I would utter Something that my secret hope has cherished, Did no painful sense of shame deter me. Sappho. Had the impulse of thy heart been honest, It had urged no evil supplication. Shame had not abashed thy eyes before me, And thy words had done thee no dishonour. Alcæus. Softly smiling Sappho, longing bids me Tell thee all that in my heart lies hidden. Sappho. Have no fear, Alcæus, to offend me. Thy emotion stirs my heart to pity. Alcæus. I desire thee, violet-weaving Sappho, Love thee madly, softly smiling Sappho. Sappho. Hush, Alcæus, thou must choose a younger Comrade for thy couch, for I would never Join thy years to mine, the gods forbid it, Youth and ardent fire to age and ashes. The Love of Selene. Across the still sea's moonlit wave Selene came, softly to seek the Latmian cave, Her breast aflame with secret passion's ruthless throe, her scruples dumb, and burning with desire to know. Endymion. The Cretan Dance. As the moon, in all her splendor, slowly rose above the forest, silent stood the Cretan women round the altar. Girdled close their clinging tunics, made of some transparent fabric, traced the every curve and lissom of their bodies. With revering eyes uplifted to the round and rising planet, soon its drifting beams of silver lit their faces. Soft and clear its sphere effulgent, full defined above the tree-tops, steeped in pale unearthly glamour all the landscape. When the argent glimmer rested on the altar piled with garlands, and its glow unveiled the marble Aphrodite. Linking hands, the Cretan women, moving gracefully with metric steps, began to dance a measure to the goddess. All so light, their feet unsandaled, pressed the velvet grass in treading, that they scarcely bruised its tender blooming verdure. Slowly turning in a circle to the east, their voices chanted in a plaintive note the sacred Ithyphallics. Then they paused, their steps retracing towards the west, and answered strophe by antistrophe with choric tones accordant. With the after-song epotic, standing all before the altar, lo, the hymn in praise of Paphos was completed. To Alcæus. Countless are the cups thou drainest in thy hymns to Dionysus, Alcæus. War and wine alone thou singest, wherefore not of Aphrodite, Alcæus? Spacious halls are thine, where many trophies hang in Ares' honor, Alcæus. Brazen shields and shining helmets, plates of brass, Chalcidian broadswords, Alcæus. When with winter roars the Thracian north wind through the leafless forest, Alcæus, thou dost heap the fire and banish care with many a tawny goblet, Alcæus. Hipporcine. Thus contend the maidens in the Cretic dance, rosy arms that glisten, eyes that glance, cheeks as fair as blossoms, parted lips that glow, with their honeyed voices chanting low, with their plastic bodies swaying to the flute, moving with the music, never mute. Graceful the orchestric figures they unfold, while the vesper heaven turns to gold, turns to gold. Laricus. While charming maids plait garlands for thy brows, Laricus, bring the pledge for this carouse. Like lovely Ganymede, brother mine, and cool from thy patera pour the wine. Thy slender limbs have all a satyr's grace, Hylas the wood god dimples in thy face. These maids of mine, beloved and loving me, my dreams have made thy nymphs to sport with thee. I heard fair Mitylene's plaudits cease, o'er Lycas, Menon, and Dinomenes, and hailed thy beauty worthy of the prize, cup-bearer to the council of the wise. No noble youth the Prytaneum holds, whose graceful form the purple tunic folds can match with thee, when on affairs of state all Lesbos gathers with the wise and great. Spring. Come, shell divine, be vocal now for me, as when the Hebrus river and the sea to Lesbos bore, on waves harmonious, the head and golden lyre of Orpheus. Calliope, queen of the tuneful throng, descend and be the muse of Melic's song, for through my frame life's tides renewing bring the glad vine-warming vigour of the spring. The skies that dome the earth with far blue fire make the wide land one temple of desire. Just now across my cheek I felt a god in the enraptured breeze pass zephyr shod. Was that Pan's flute, O Attis, that we heard, or the soft love note of a woodland bird? That flame, a scarlet wing that skimmed the stream, or the red flash of our impassioned dream? Ah, soon again we two shall gather fair garlands of dill and rose to deck our bare white arms that cling, white breast that burns to breast, when the long night of love shall banish rest. Girl friends. Prelude. Deftly on my little 7-stringed barbitos, now to please my girl friends, songs I set to music. Maidens fair, companions of the Muses, never toward you shall my feelings undergo a change. Chanted in a plaintive, old Ionic measure, all the songs I give you are the songs of love. Andromeda. What bucolic maiden now thy heart bewitches, O my Andromeda of the strange amours? Round her awkward ankles she has not the faintest sense of art to draw her long ungraceful tunic. Yet she surely makes thee, O my Andromeda, for thy sweet unlawful love a fair requital. Joy and praise attend thee in thy keen perceptive taste for beauty, daughter of Polyanax, of Polyanax. Eunika. Aphrodite's handmaid, bright as gold thou earnest tender woven garlands round thy tender neck, sweet as soft persuasion, lissome as the Graces, shy Eunika, lovely girl from Salamis, slender thou as Syrinx, as the waving reed nymph, once by Pan, the god of summer winds, deflowered. On thy lips, whose quiver seems to plead for pity, mine shall rest and linger like the mouth of Pan on the mouth of Syrinx, when his breath that filled her blew through all her body music of his love. Gorgo. Gorgo, I am weary of thy love's insistence. Thou to me appearest an ill-favoured child. Though I am than Gello, fonder still of virgins, toward thee I have never felt the least desire. Yesternight I knew not what to do, for pity moved my bosom deeply, seeing thee implore. Harassed by alternate yielding and refusal, I was half persuaded then to grant thy prayer. At my door thy presence lingers like a shadow. Vain wouldst thou reproach me with appealing eyes. Dost thou think by constant proofs of lasting passion slowly my obdurate will to wear away? Gorgo, I am weary of thy love's insistence, and my strength exhausted. Grants thy wish at last. Mnasidika. Set, O Dica, garlands on thy lovely glinting mass of fine and golden tresses, sprays of dill with fingers soft entwining, while I stand apart to better judge those who have fair wreaths about the forehead, breathing Brenthian odour to the senses, ever first find favour with the Graces, who from wreathlier suppliants turn away. Dica, Manassa Dica, thou art shapely with the flowing curves of Aphrodite, eyes the colour of her azure ocean, washing wide on Cyprus' languid shore. In thy every movement, grace unconscious sways the rhythmic poem of thy body, charming with elusive undulation, like a splendid lily in the wind. As I stand apart to judge the better fair effects that roses add to beauty, all thy rays of loveliness concentered sun me till I swoon with swift desire. Telesippa. Sleep thou in the bosom of thy tender girl-friend Telesippa, gentle maiden from Miletus. Like twin petals shyly closing to the darkness, dewy on your drooping lids shall fall her kisses, while her arms enfold you on your drowsy senses shall her soft caresses seal delicious languor. Warm from her desireful heart the flush of passion on your cheek unconscious with her sighs shall deepen. All the long sweet night time, sleepless while you slumber, she shall lie and quiver with her love's mad longing. Gerino. Now the silver crescent of the moon has vanished, with the golden Pleiads drifting down the west. It is after midnight, and the time is passing, hours we pledge to passion, and I sleep alone. Anger ill becomes thee, tender soul Gerino. Shapelier is Dica, but less loved by me. Art thou still relentless, wilful one, annulling all thy protestations in the fervid past? Can it, O Charites, be thou hast forgotten? Dost thou love another even now, perchance? Ah, my tears are falling, yet in my despairing mood I lie and listen for thy furtive step, for the lightest rustle of thy flowing garment, for thy sweet and panting whisper at the door. Now the moon has vanished with the golden Pleiads. It is after midnight, and I sleep alone. Megara. Thou burn'st us, Megara, with thy passions wild, bringing from Panormus such unbridled fires. Thou burnest us, a supple flow, a tortured flame, raging, biting, searing, lawless of the will. Thou burnest us, Megara, love must know reserve, curbing power to keep it, keener for restraint. Erinna. Haughtier than thou, O fair Erinna, I have never met with any maiden. Such a careless scorn as thine for passion proves a dire affront to Aphrodite. When with soft desire she wounds thy bosom, thou shalt know love's pain, and doubly suffer. Keep the gifts I gave thee, long rejected, fabrics for thy lap from far Phocea, Babylonian unguents, scented sandals, and the costly mitre for thy tresses. Tripods worked in brass to flank the altar, with the ivory figure of the goddess, where the sacrificial fumes from sacred flames shall rise to gladden and appease her, in the hour when at her call thy fervid breast and mouth to mine shall be relinquished. Gongila. It was when the sunset burned with saffron fire, and Apollo's coursers turned below the hills, that on Mitylene's marble bridge we met, Gongila, thou golden maid of Colophon. Like the breath of morning, or a breeze from the sea, fresh thy beauty smote me, virile of the north. Startled by thy vision, transports half divine flooded veins and bosom, shook me with desire. Soon the kindlier sun-glow of Aeolic lands melted all the futile snows about thy heart. Damophilia. Cold of heart, and strangely uninclined to passion, wisdom's vigil leaves thee, proud Damophilia. Sapphics thou hast written, verses in my metre, with a skill surpassing in the melic art. Love's superb enchantment thou art fain to banish, like the virgin huntress long by thee adored. Moulded by thy tunic, every arching contour of her chaste and noble form I dream to see, even view her stepping from the leafy covert down the dawn-white valley, stately as a stag. Long I sued, but found thee deaf to all entreaty, till one summer twilight, listless in the heat, soothed by slumber's languor and my low monodic voice that hymned a paean in the praise of love, loath to yield, yet vanquished, as I knelt beside thee, all thy long resistance to my kiss succumbed. Anagora. Anagora, fairest spoil of fateful battle, Babylonian temples know thy luring song. Wrested from barbaric captors for thy beauty, thou wert made a priestess at Meletus' shrine. Once these flexile fingers, clasped in mine so closely, 'neath the temple's arches thrummed the tabor soft. Thou hast taught me secrets of the cryptic chambers, how the zonahs worship in the burning east, raptures that my wildest dreaming never pictured, arts of love that charmed me, subtle, new, and strange. Hearken to my earnest prayer, O Aphrodite, may the night be doubled now for our delight. Phaon. Philomel. Philomel in my garden, messenger sweet of springtide, from the bough of the olive tree utter tidings ecstatic. Linger long on thy olden note, as in days remembered, ere the boatman that knew Aphrodite ravished my vision. Fatal glamour of beauty, beauty of gods made mortal, ah, before its delight I am ever fearful of heaven. Spring in breeze and the blossom, grasses and leaves and odors, on my heart with the breath of a vanished April is shaken, shaken with thrill and regret of lost caresses and kisses. Anactoria's memory, Attis never forgotten, Philomel in my garden, messenger sweet of springtime, from the bough of the olive tree utter tidings ecstatic. Golden Pulse. Golden Pulse grew on the shore, ferns along the hill, and the red-clipped roses bore bees to drink their fill. Bees that from the meadows bring wine of Melilot, honey sups on golden wings to the garden grot. But to me, neglected flower, Phaon will not see, passion brings no crowning hour, honey nor the bee. The Swallow. Daughter of Pandion, lovely swallow that veers at my window, swift on the flood of the sunshine, darting thy shadow, what is thy innocent purpose? Why dost thou hover and haunt me? Is it a kinship of sorrow brings thee anear me? Must thou for ever be tongueless, flying in fear of Tereus? Must he for Itys pursue thee, changed to a lapwing? Tireless of pinion and never resting on bush or the branches, close to the earth, up the azure, over the tree tops. After thy wing in its madness follows my glance, as a flitting child on the track of its mother hastens in silence. Daughter of Pandion, lovely swallow that veers at my window, hast thou a message from Cyprus telling of Phaon? Tidings. She wrapped herself in linen woven close, stuffs delicate and texture fine as those the dark Nile traders for our bartering from Egypt, Crete, and far Phocaea bring. Love lent her feet the wings of winds to reach, whose steps stir not the shingle of the beach. My marble court and breathless bid me know my lover's sails across the harbor blow. He seemed to her as to himself he seems, like some bright god long treasured in her dreams. She saw him standing at his gallows prow, my Phaon, mine in Mitylene now. Hesperus. Hesperus shines low on the eastern wave, off toward the Asian shore, over faint lines whose greys and purples pave where seas night calmed adore. Fair Vesper fire, fairest of stars, the light benign of secret bliss, star of desire, bringing to me with night dreams and my Phaon's kiss. Dawn. Just now the golden-sandaled dawn peered through the lattice of my room. Why must thou fare so soon, my Phaon? Last night I met thee at the shore, 1,000 hues were in the sky, the breeze from Cyprus blew, my Phaon. I drew to lave thy heated brow, my kerchief dripping from the sea. Why hadst thou sailed so far, my Phaon? Far up the narrow mountain paths we heard the shepherds fluting home. Like some white god thou seemed, my Phaon. And through the olive trees we saw the twinkle of my vesper lamp. Wilt kiss me now as then, my Phaon? Nay, loosen not with gentle force the clasp of my restraining arms. I will not let thee go, my Phaon. See, deftly in my trailing robe I spring and draw the lattice close. Is it not night again, my Phaon? The farewell. Beloved, stand face to face, and lifting lids disclose to me the grace, the Paphic fire that lingers yet and lies reflected in thy eyes. Phaon, my so beloved, stand not to my mad passion all unmoved. O let, ere thou to far Panormus sail, one hour of love prevail. Dear ingrate, come, and let thy breath like odour from a cassolet, thy smile, the clinging touch of lips and heart, anoint me ere we part. Phaon, I yearn and seek but thee alone, and what I feel must speak in all these fond and wilful ways of mine, O mortal maid divine! My girl friends now no more hang their sweet gifts of garlands at my door. Dear maids, with all your vanished empery, ye now are naught to me. Phaon, thy galley rides within the harbour's mouth, and waits the tides and favouring winds far to the west to fly, and leave me here to die. The brawny rowers lean to bend long stroking oars and changing scene, and fairer loves than mine shall soon efface this last divine embrace. Phaon, the lifting breeze, see at thy feet I kneel and clasp thy knees. Go not, go not, oh hear my sobbing prayer, and yield to my despair. dark-eyed sleep. Dark-eyed sleep, child of night, come in thy shadow garment to my couch, and with thy soothing touch, cool as the vesper breeze, grant that I may forget. Bestow condign release, a taste of rest that comes with endless sleep. Lure off the haunting dreams, the dire Eumenides, that torture my repose. For I would live a space, though Phaon has forsaken me, nor yet be found on shadow fields among the lilies tall of pale Persephone. The cliff of Lucus. A far-seen cliff stands in the western sea, towards Cephallenian lands. Apollo's temple crowns its whitened crest, and at its base the waves eternal beat. Its leap has power to cure the pangs of unrequited love. Thither pale lovers go with anguished hearts to dare the deep and quench love's slow consuming flame. Urged to the edge by maddening desire, I too shall fling myself, imploring thee, Apollo, lord and king, into the chill embraces of the sea, less cold than thine, O Phaon. I shall fall, fall with the flutter of a wounded dove, and I shall rise, indifferent for ever to love's dream, or find below the sea's eternal voice, eternal peace. End of Section 18. End of the Poems of Sappho, an interpretive rendition into English by John Myers O'Hara.